This week has been all over the place. It's been a crazy week. I have about 3 projects going on at work. I want to get some photos edited and posted. But you're going to love those photos. I'll show you. But there's a ton of different things that are happening in right now this week, and I feel all over the place. I want to get some videos done too for my channel. I have a few ideas that I know that you're gonna want to see, and it's just been all of this stuff has been in my head, and it's been very difficult to keep focused and to keep concentrated into doing something and keeping productive. I start jumping from one place to another and then coming back, and you just don't find that sweet spot. So if you feel like that too, keep watching and we'll talk about it. Hello everybody, my name is Javier Salazar. This week I want to talk to you about how to stay productive and what to do when you're feeling overwhelmed and you have a ton of different things to do and you're just not getting things done. By no means I'm an expert on that. I'm just going to tell you what works for me and what I do so that I can keep productive. But let's get into it right away. Step number 1 for me is to make a list. I think that most times the amount of things that we have are less than what we think we really have, and that's because just all the stuff that we have keeps creating echo in our head, and it just seems like it's more and more and more inside and out. So having a list makes you see clearly what exactly you need to be doing, and it discards all that reverb, all that echo that is happening in your head. The next step for me will be to prioritize that list. So as you go through all the stuff that you've written, just see what needs to be done right away and what's the most pressing things. I find that the stuff that is urgent is usually the one that is obviously putting more pressure into you, and that just creates or gives you that feeling of anxiety around the whole list, but not the whole thing needs to be done right away. And so it's good to just look at it, start looking at what needs to be done today, what can be postponed for tomorrow. Don't postpone everything though, just make sure that you're actually working on something, and then set some goals. So decide that you're gonna, out of your 10 or 15 items, maybe you discover that it's just 5 in the previous step, but out of all those items, just make sure that you accomplish 1 or 2, or that you set goals to accomplish 1 or 2 fairly soon. Once you've done that, you're gonna find that there's a little bit more time that you thought that you're gonna have a little bit more chance to within those, say, 5 items that you're gonna work on today. You may have 15 and you decided that you're gonna work on 5 today. So within those 5 items, you still have to decide which ones you're gonna do. To get me motivated, I like starting with things that are easy and simple, things that I can get out of the way really quick, because that's going to give me the feeling of achievement, and that's going to keep me moving forward. If I start with the most difficult task, which a lot of people recommend, and that could be okay, I've done it too. I just find that if I have a couple of smaller ones out of 5, for instance, I can get 2 or 3 knocked down right away. Then that makes it a lot easier for me to tackle the other ones, because I know that my list has shrunk and now I can move and I'm making progress, and so that allows me to keep making progress. Then after that, you're left with the bigger tasks, the ones that are the more daunting, the ones that we don't want to address, the ones that we don't want to go for because, oh my God, it's going to take forever and I don't know how I'm going to do it, and there's all these big difficult tasks in front. So I think for that, you need to set time aside for it. You need to decide that, okay, I'm going to work on all these smaller tasks until this time, and then from here to here I'm going to focus on that one, and then set yourself up for success. So when you're getting to that point, you got to make sure that you have everything ready so that there's no distractions. So a couple of things would be like putting your phone aside in silent, or even turning it off. You're not going to check emails, so turn your notifications off on your computer, or try to get, I don't know, go to the bathroom before and then get some water, get a snack, something. Just make sure that you're preparing yourself like 10 minutes before, so that once you sit down and you're going to start working on that task, you can actually stay on it for the next 2 or 3 hours. I think the next one is the most difficult to do, but it's also the best piece of advice that I can give you. When you have all these tasks and everything, we're looking at making them all perfect, and we're looking at making them all. Most times, if you're a photographer like me, I can spend hours in a photo trying to tweak things here and there and just making them work, and I don't like this. One time when I was still in photography school, I got this print and I liked it, but I wasn't completely happy with the contrast, and I kid you not, I printed it 15 times before I ended up in a point where I was not seeing any changes. I could see two prints side by side and I didn't know which one was which. At that moment I realized that it was unnecessary detail tweaking and everything. The print was very good from the beginning. I could have made a couple of corrections on it and then used the second or third print, but by no means 15 prints. I just wasted a lot of time in there. So what I'm trying to say here is simplify what you're doing. Try to get to, in a case like this where you have no time and you need to accomplish a lot of things, you need to understand that perfect is the enemy of good. You want to get things done, and when you're thinking of getting them done perfect, you're not going to get them done, and you may get one perfect and then you're leaving another 4 behind. So you need to make sure that you're getting them to a point where you're satisfied with them, but they're not necessarily perfect. Could you improve on them? Of course, but right now you don't have the time for that. So focus on getting them done, not on getting them perfect. Now, I find that in cases like this, a lot of the times I go to learn. I go to watch more YouTube videos, and maybe that's why you're watching this one right now. I start looking at what else I can do and how can I do it better, can I tweak this, can I tweak that, and can I improve in here and so on. And yes, that's a great thing to do, but the problem with that is that we switch into a mode of learning and not into a mode of doing. And so that just means that while you're spending all this time in YouTube, things keep accumulating on your to-do list and you're not making progress on them, which results again as you feeling more overwhelmed. So yes, there's a place and time for learning. I do it all the time, but right now if you're feeling overwhelmed, this is not necessarily helping your case. I know that at this time I'm supposed to tell you to watch the next video, but the reality is that at this time, if you're feeling overwhelmed, you have something else to do. So subscribe and hit the bell so that you can find me later. But for now, stop watching this video and go get shit done.